what was one of the main things he saw in America that was something that was just that encapsulated American policy? And he said this. He said the greatest thing I saw, which was almost metaphysical, he said, I saw the blacks do the marching for the civil rights and do all this stuff and even dying for the civil rights in the 60s and the 50s. He said, and yet, he said, I saw more people benefit from the civil rights, gay, women, all types of special interest groups. The Jews benefit from the civil rights, but the black people, basically. Because they all had comeuppance. They're on top now. You see. So, in so many words, this was a clever concept to go in and use a group of people as the foot soldiers and the face of civil rights. That's somebody taking your plight and saying, hey, we can benefit from the wretchedness of these black people and establish laws that can make it easy for us. You see what I'm saying? Now, and so a lot of some of these things, there was a vested interest in, especially some of the Jews being behind a lot of the civil rights thing, culminating into the I Had a Dream speech, Have a Dream speech that was written by some Jews. You see what I'm saying? But even as much as getting on the bandwagon, this thing started even in the 1940s when one of the Jewish authors wrote the song Strange Fruit and gave it to Billie Holiday to sing. You see what I'm saying? Gave it to Billie Holiday to sing. You see, so this is another aspect of why this particular civil rights movement went down. Again, taking the legacy from you, because you were the ones that was discriminated against. So it's interesting that your suffering is beneficial to other people, even on the divine level, because they know that the greatness is coming to you because of it. And so they want people to steal your divine birthright. So as a result, they create these laws to say, just in case this shit get out of hand, we still don't want to be barred from this culture. So they create these laws with the black people as the prototypal image. You see, and these laws, these civil rights laws, would become the basis in which all groups benefit from. So we're talking about this whole thing being orchestrated and we being the ones that's up under the foot of all of this. So it's the same thing that's going on now in Hollywood. And so they will use black people as the guinea pig, you see, for a new movement. Shit, man. America ain't nothing but a damn joke. There was a special came on National Geographic. And if you don't have a VCR, you can't get this stuff. You can't set it all up with a DVD player. You understand what I'm saying? But let me explain something what happened to DVD. They fooled people. When people got into it, the DVDs were made to play bought commercial movies. It came out in 97, 98, 99. Then all of a sudden, in the 2000s, you start getting DVD recorders. And that's where it breaks down. Because when you talk about recording, we got these things freezing up on people. It's just a big mess. Some stuff don't work in one machine, don't work in the other. And they fool people. It was a whole thing to do that so that you wouldn't be able to record a lot of things, because our revolution started from either cassette or videotape. And you can record. And they said we got to get the recording aspect and slow it down. Now you can't have DVD recorders, but they slowed down what you could do on the VCR. So now let me give you an example so I was up the other night and I saw this thing in India. In India, they have this particular part. Now try to understand the science. You can debate it all you want. But then again, I say, well, you know, I'm looking at this thing and I say, well, this is going to be real hard on religious folks that's judgmental.
Sure.
What they were saying about this. But this is the Christ, more so than the Jesus Christ, that didn't exist. We're talking about an Egyptian principle, and when you read what the global elite say, they say Jesus Christ is an attainment or either a spiritual avatar in the future, or it's a whole race of people.
Sure.
And it's both. But it wasn't a person in the past. That's why you can't even get the Jews, you can't get the Muslims, you can't get nobody in the ancient world to make claims that there was a person walking around that was the Messiah back then. Nobody does that but a group of folks. You see what I'm saying? And in this particular case, we now know that the white Jesus fosters white supremacy. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And this is the only reason why they haven't abandoned it. It's a great tool for white supremacy. Sure. You see, now, if you got to understand that we suffer from black inferiority and the aspects of slavery, then you got to ask this question, and we're talking about to the 25th power, to the 2000th power since slavery. What do you think about the people that were in white supremacy? That's a disease too. So you're talking about something that's gotten out of hand on the earth plane, and as long as they have us identified with the image of God being this white boy, it falls to white supremacy subconsciously. You see what I'm saying? And you're talking about a sociopathic behavior. I understand what a sociopath is. A sociopath is a person that no matter what they do to people, they never think that they're wrong. Sure. You can also have a race of sociopaths based on a European worldview. We're talking about people that had the majority of the movies, even up to now, that were mostly white. And although you've seen a lot of black faces in the last 30 years, you see what I'm saying? That's almost 1% compared to the majority of movies produced each year. It's all white, the majority of TV shows. So it can only lend to a sociopathic worldview to say, outside of my existence, there is no existence. So we're talking about a sociopathic mindset, you see. And so that means, and you're sitting here with your mindset saying, well, there's great atrocities that's been done, and the world has to see to that. They don't have to see to nothing, because the people who run the world think there's nothing that's been done because they only monitor atrocities that's done to them. That's why World War II, you see what I'm saying? You see, it was a great atrocity, and then they said a great day of freedom. Remember I talked about this last time? They said great book. 1945, a great day of freedom. And yet the countries that were free had the entire indigenous world in slavery. They took a great day of freedom from Britain, and Britain had the entire globe in slavery in 1945. Again, it's a great day of freedom, because freedom is only synonymous to them.
Sure.
Because the other people are not human, they don't exist. They lie about everything. So my point here is based on that. The first thing you got to do to get to the God level, you got to get out of this fear. So they got you on a fear-based thing based on all this stuff and what they're going to do. So my point here is you got people that sit up and just calculate what their next move. They're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this. Your DNA, man, supersedes all of that now. Supersedes all of that. But the only thing they got to do is just give you a tally on what they did, and people will buy the damn tally and believe that kind of stuff. But believe that kind of thing. You see what I'm saying? But it's, but it's just the mind control on one particular aspect is so major. But till We are the worst people we've ever been is black people now. And I'm talking about straight up so-called upward mobile that we have been treasuring all these years. Give you an example of what I'm talking about here. We have bought into the fact, because I said it, Spirit gave it to me, they said, you know, in just 2000, if you do not have no money in your pocket, you're going to be looked on as an enemy. It's going to look like something is wrong with you. It's going to look like you are a bad person. So now, to be poor, you see, means that in actuality, there's something wrong with you, so you got to be the enemy. Now give me an example of what we have produced now. What we have produced now with our so-called upper mobile, we so proud of. You know, we give them all the accolades and we point the goddamn finger at the motherfucking so-called hoochie mama and all the so-called uncouth, unrefined black people. You see, you got it's in a movie Fantastic Planets, you got your domestic owns and your savage owns. And the domestic owns, white people like them, and stuff, and you got your savage owns. And those are the ones you gotta look out for. But the domestic owns hate the savage owns. Now, because they've been trained that the savage owns are uncouth and unrefined. So the plight of black America, when we've been talking about from the 1980s on in to now, has been the underclass. Whenever we talk about what is wrong with black America, even when it comes to the victims, it's always the doggone so-called underclass. We always, in our thing, even if we're going to give trophies and accolades, it's going to be so-called quote-unquote upward mobile. And them motherfuckers now, the upward mobile is the worst blackness produced now. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Give you an example of what I'm talking about. We're not talking about the people that's conscious and stuff, but let me give you an example. Last Christmas of 2000, I had a friend that come in town. We went to college together. You know what I'm saying? We struggled together, whatever type thing, you know. And this brother here happened to be conscious, but he lost his mind in the context of certain things that's going on right now in academia. All of a sudden, he became an administrator of one of the black colleges and all this kind of thing here and stuff. So basically what happened was when this brother comes to Atlanta, he comes by and we hang out all Christmas and stuff, you know, because, you know, we came up together from AU Center, from the AU Center down there and all this, you know, and even in the conscious thing. So what happened was, he came there one Christmas of 2000, and I had about $10 on me. So let's ride out. So we rode out, went to get something to eat. Had about $10 on me. So we bought lunch. Then later on that day, we bought lunch, and later on that night, we was hung out all day, and I bought something else to eat. So he looking at that, made the mistake of telling me, hell, all I got is $10. So. And earlier that day, he was telling me about how he had $75,000 in the bank. And so we went to get something to eat. And I'm going to show you the psychological ramifications on how somebody is looking at you as the enemy now. I'm going to show you exactly what's going on because they produced this kind of animal. And this shit is going on right now. So we went out to eat, and so basically I ate both that day and all, and we were just, you know, we basically snacking, you know, ate a little lunch and then went to this other little place and stuff, and got something like $6. I had about $12 on me or whatever. So anyway, meanwhile, this motherfucker counting my shit, or what I'm gonna do, because he figured this motherfucker only got $10 on me. So he dropped me off. Before he dropped me off, I meet one of the other brothers who used to hang out with us and stuff, and he's into the voodoo thing. And I meet one of these brothers. He said, so when the other brother drops me off, my boy that I've been hanging with for years, about 14, 15 years, the other brother comes by the house. He said, I want to get some vevas, I want to get some information, I want to get some stuff from you and all. So I load him up with some, you know, the symbols and the vevas and the information. So he reaching this thing and giving me $50. You see what I'm saying? Give me $50. I said, shit, I sure hell need it, man, because I was busted like a motherfucker. But the key here is, the other brother remembers that I only had $10. Now this brother hangs with me all of Christmas. You know, during the Christmas vacation, he's in academia, so it's just like school. You know, he got 2 weeks off, so he hang with me and all of me do this type of stuff. So the other brother, he just remembers that I only had $10. But the funny thing about it is the whole Christmas people was coming by, dropping a 40 off on me, but you know, stuff like that. So I kept accumulating money, you know, getting this little thing here and stuff, you know, just hanging change, you know. So this brother don't come back by after the first day, after like a day after Christmas. He don't come by no more after we hung out and he realized got the $10. So I said, damn, this is the first time in damn 14, 15 years the brother didn't come by. I'm like, what the hell going on? You know, hell, I'm one of the only niggas he know here. Okay. I said, it looked like somebody's fronting on me. I didn't say nothing. So after Christmas, I met the brother who came and dropped the $50 off on me. He said, man, where were you Christmas? He said, man, we had all kind of little get-together, man. We was talking about all kind of African spirituality, and we was talking about this, and we was talking about that. No, we had food, we had drinks, we had a ball. And I said, ah, shit, I was sitting up in my damn house, you know, shit. I was chilling the whole Christmas. You know, I said, I wasn't doing nothing, so. So he said, I said, you know, I ain't celebrating nothing, so I'm saying, you know, I was just home. He said, well, damn. He said, well, I told the other brother, I asked him, where were you this time? He said, oh, Bobby said that he didn't want to come. I'm like, well, shit, I ain't seen the motherfucker but one time, when, the day after Christmas. So what had gone on was that this brother here now thought in his mind that I didn't have no money. And now he's an administrator, and to him, that was appalling. I had crossed the line. I dare you. You see, it's interesting here. I dare you be broke. See what I'm saying? You see, here it is. It's the same thing. It's the mentality. It's an insult to him for me to be sitting in the doggone thing. Well, first of all, the motherfucker knew. This is the crazy thing. He knew that I gave up a career and all to put this shit forth to the people. So after fucking 10 goddamn years, nothing from nothing leave nothing. You know what I'm saying? But then again, on the other hand, he's supposed to know that I live a bohemian lifestyle. You got people in this country, they function off of less than $10,000 a year and live on a high level. You got white people do this shit. You got people in the artist world that do this kind of stuff. And it's a training. You just do it, and it's like a whole other civilization. And people understand that. So I said, you know, I gave up everything, you know. I gave up career and all that shit, you know, walked away from these things. It wasn't like I was on my way to do these things and I just decided to detour. No, I was already in my shit when I gave all this up. But he knows this. So, but to him, that's an insult that, okay, that's all fine in the formative years, but now, you know, we all administrators and we all upper mobile Negroes, it's appalling for you to have only $10. See the mindset? Now I'm saying, goddamn, I remember you was running around here about to cry 10 years ago, because you got a girl pregnant. Well, motherfucker said, bitch, she said, bitch, if you don't have my, she told that nigga, bitch, if you don't have my goddamn money for my abortion by Friday, I'm going to your goddamn mama and daddy. He crying, oh, you know, mama, you know, he home from grass, like, don't be getting nobody pregnant all. He's a damn stiff-necked nigga. They're like, you know, we gonna shoot. Disown your ass. So he all think, and he had to come to me, and he had to come to my brother. My brother, one of my brothers, a year older than me, gave this nigga $500 just to have him. I said, you forget this kind of shit. You see, but now all of a sudden now, that's all fine when we at a certain level, but now it's an elite aptitude and structure you supposed to be on. And this brother, he's supposed to be conscious. So he thought that in so many words that it was offensive to him for me not to have none, so he didn't come by. And I had money the whole Christmas. So I said, well, maybe it's all in your head. Maybe your boy didn't play you this way. That was Christmas 2000. Then comes Thanksgiving 2001, past Thanksgiving. He rolled up on a Sunday. I said, damn, man, where you? He said, I've been in town a whole week. And he done forgot, he done fronted on me. But he's got this pattern now. I've been in town a whole week. I'm like, well, goddamn. I've been there a whole week and stuff. I said, you know, I didn't have no lectures or nothing. I was here. I look out in the car, all the little shit packed up and stuff. I said, oh, I get it. You come by here with me on your way back to where you're going. Because see, the whole concept here is it's not only offensive. He figured that he don't, see, it's not only offensive and stuff. He figured if he come by, you know, that he gonna have to get me lunch or whatever. So let's say if we coming by, he figured that he gotta get me lunch or whatever. So he said, I ain't coming in. This nigga broke or whatever type thing here and all, you know. So this time he figured this nigga broke. He gonna wait till the end of the vacation to drop by. It was interesting. He stepped in the house. Now my house is all hooked up with the spirit realm. He sat in this damn chair, and I know, hell, this brother is skinny, and I know I sit in the chair and be rocking back and forth and nothing happened. He sat in the chair, and his chair broke. Broke. I said, damn, what kind of shit is this? And it scratched up his back. But it knocked some sense back in the brother. For some reason, it was a spiritual thing. And he got on the road and shit, and he came back. But that Christmas, the motherfucker was hanging every day. Because he's already, I said, damn, something had to give you an attitude adjustment. You see, but now going back to this particular thing here, this is the mindset. Because you got to understand, it might seem just like a little old mediocre story, but see, you got to understand black psychology and the psyche. Because it's the same thing on how white people think it's appalling. Because we got that same mindset, and it says, as a man and woman thinketh, so is he and she. And that's what it is. But on the other hand, on the flip side, because of his circle, he could not fathom a person falling on their ass. See, his circle, see, this is the way this mindset is. The circle that he's around, everybody got. So in so many words, what we got now here is, they talk about this capitalistic society. It is slavery, and it has produced monsters. Then you can't understand. You say, I can't understand how black people cannot care anymore. And stuff like that. Cannot care. They're socialized now into these new type of monsters. Also, the other thing is, we are bred to appease and be accepted by the slave master. When you want to think about what is the number one thing that has been on the black man's mind since Reconstruction is to be accepted by the slave master. And that is at the heart of all social function with us. Ultimately, is to be accepted. We make good money on these jobs, but we be crying and protesting and shit when they treat us wrong because we want to be accepted. So, because we have already been accepted by the slave master, we feel that we don't have to improve on being black. See, it's a breeding thing. We are accepted, it's a programming. We are accepted by the slave master now. So therefore, the goals and the objectives have been met. So anything else is null and void. So to improve on being black, it's not a part of my programming. So because it's outside of the realm of acceptance of the slave master now, it don't even register. We're talking about robots. They say robots rebellion. We're talking about drone-trained robots, and we don't understand what's going on. And to us, this weight is senseless. It's like the movie Dark City. See, every now and then one of us wakes up. But a person is in the movie They Live. Every time we got one that can see. But when you see, it's a nightmare. And we still trying to rationalize it based on a sane mind. But what we don't realize is we talking about drone robots that's trained with one thing. If they have the sanction of white America, honorary white folks, then everything else doesn't matter, including the whole decimation, desecration, and devastation of their own communities. Somehow we will bounce back because we got sanctioned through the white man. It's a programming, and not only that, what we don't realize, and one of the main things what we need to see here, is we talking about breeding. That's the key. Somebody breeds you. It's in the movie Doom. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, on the other hand, we are the enemy because we broke the breeding. You can't lie to us. The brain is in actuality, when you talk about the matrix is the human brain. It is because this brain is telling you that you need materialism to survive. You understand what I'm saying? That is the matrix. Now we give you an example of what we're talking about here. Okay, everybody wants $1 million. Well, you know what I'm trying to say. I mean, right now that would be pretty nice for my ass too. I just would deal with it. I just would use it because I do admit I'm still stuck in the physical body. You understand? I'm still stuck in the physical body. But I would use it different than a Puff Daddy or whoever the other these niggas are, because they think that that's them. That's the difference. But the point I'm trying to make is this. Let's take a millionaire. And let's look and see if a person is really rich. Let's say if you was a millionaire in 1970 and you bought a whole bunch of furniture, a whole bunch of automobiles, and you bought a whole bunch of automobiles and stuff. And you just line your house up with all types of doodads and whatnots. Now in 1990, you never bought nothing since 1970. Now in 1990, everything that was the pride in your existence and everything that you thought that made you so wealthy would literally be out of style. As a matter of fact, you could probably walk to the poor side of town and see it up in the damn Goodwill. So that ought to let you know that there wasn't shit no way. And for the mere fact that the brain tells you that, not necessarily mean that there's no such thing as that anyway, even on the mundane level that we're talking about here. So, is those stars out there, or is it that's what your brain telling you? We know that. Right now, when a person's spine breaks and he don't have no feeling in his legs, it's the same meat. The blood's still flowing through it. You see what I'm saying? But it's not connected to the brain anymore. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, the brain does not have the power to tell it. You see, and that's the difference. So that's what this particular part is your brain is telling you that this is reality. You see what I'm saying? This is reality, and we can't shake that. You see, it's a prison. It's a jailhouse. And ultimately, that is what God is. God only exists through the human brain. You see what I'm saying? That false subordinate God.
You're talking about the almost physical God that we think of.
Yeah, but the Most High God is man, the Son of Man, and man on earth. That's one of the keys that and I think a lot of these things, as we say this stuff over and over again, but I think that's one of the concepts that we have to get. That before there was a God and a heaven and the angels in heaven, we were. You see what I'm saying? And I'll give you some other information, especially like on the whole menstrual thing. Because now there's a whole intelligentsia out. You know, it started with Leola Africa and a couple of other things, saying that in actuality that a woman is not on the higher levels, or a woman is not healthy when she bleeds and all that. And that's not true based on my stuff. You see what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, that is the ultimate, and we'll go into that type of thing also too. But that is the ultimate form of bringing that higher realm back on the earth that once was here. But in so many words, before there was a heaven, we were. But when we look at the concept that there's nothing out there in space but a hologram, that heaven can only be in your brain. You see what I'm saying? Like you creating a damn machine, and then the machine comes alive. And then it starts writing scripture to validate it. The TV set was scrambling my pineal and pituitary gland. You see what I'm saying? And it was a dizziness and stuff and all, because the ones from 2000 on up is made to shut down the pineal and melatonin production. You see what I'm saying? So now what I do is I go in and I'll record stuff on the big TV, and we take it in the other one and use the little one, the 19-inch, to watch movies and all. But I know damn well if I watch a 2-hour movie on that big one, I got the same fucking problem. You see what I'm saying? And they are doing, and see, so this is another thing also, what they're doing. You got to understand archetypes of the collective unconsciousness. In the 1970s, the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the music, because 20th century music is black in America, period, and the world. It's black, number one. From ragtime, to blues, jazz, to rock and roll, to funk, all that shit was black. You see what I'm saying? Now, there was one thing that was a theme, that was a balance in that. You always had to have a goddess, an equal proportion of goddesses, of females singing, entertaining. So what happens is this. The subconscious mind, let me explain something about the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is, it only gives you, it only receives what you program it. So let's say you got a series of lies, or half-truths, or untruths that's been programmed in you from a child. And then you see how people, they can come in and they can learn they can get all these books, and they can read all these books and know of this black consciousness, and then the next thing you know, they end up back in the church. You say, how can you know this and still go back up in the church? It's because the initial, the original programming that was ingrained in the subconscious mind as a child, they never dissipated or diffused it. So no matter how much data, new data came in, that initial inception of programming that was up in there, the subconscious mind still believed that to be true. So the subconscious mind accepts what you give it, turns it into reality, and acts upon it. If you give it wrong information, the process still occurs, and it does the same thing. You understand? Now, if you give it right information, if the wrong information is in there, it automatically rejects the right information because the other information has not been diffused. So they say you must go into the subconscious mind. Tell the subconscious mind, say, I know that you have been given a lot of conditionings in the beginning. And now I ask you to release it because it might have not been true. And until you do that, you still have your original conditioning or blueprint. You see what I'm saying? Inside the subconscious mind. And that's why the other data, you have so much problems accepting it. Because it's at war with the original thing that is set up dormancy in that particular area, and you got to get rid of that shit. So you must go in and tell the subconscious mind to release all the wrong information. You know, I know it's wrong. Forgive me for giving you this wrong shit. But this is the new potent stuff that you must receive. So the same thing happens here. We in the 70s, the 60s, even the 80s, we had a certain amount of archetype. Archetypes are things, are images that you use to go into the subconscious mind to set up a process that works for you, a process of reality. So for every male singers, you had these female singers. And as a result, you had a balance, and the subconscious mind could see its way and could choose the gender processes down here on what it's supposed to do. Now, the young people, the young men, only see males. And whatever females is dykes. Like the girl, Missy Elliott, she top rapper, but she's a dyke. You see what I'm saying? Ain't got nothing, you know, but all I'm trying to say is here. First of all, I'm not talking down on, I have to say this, I have to preface this, because we get ready to get into this shit too. I'm not talking down on Missy Elliott for being lesbian. And I'm going to tell you why. When I tap into this Venus shit, the spirit say, look, if all this down here is an illusion, and really ultimately the soul is feminine, you can't be judging no motherfucker down here for that. Because see, that's another thing we get ready to get into. See, this, in order for us to stay off the path, the soul is going to send you a couple of obstacles. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to judge somebody because they gay. So I had to look at this real deep, and I said, because I'm trying to understand this thing on another level. Because religion tells you one thing, and that shit is done wrong by us, so we can't go by that shit.
You can't go by that.
So you got to go by truth. Now let me explain what I mean by that. It was Kwame Ture that said it. When they came to Kwame Ture, I have to put this in the stuff, but this is all of my idea and stuff. You got to come correct. You can't be coming based on what feels good. You got to come correct. He said they stepped to him, the white gay community stepped to him and said, we want you to help us in our struggle because we're gay bashing. He said, I can't do that. He said, because that's not my culture. That's what you mean by that. He said, we knew that James Baldwin was gay. And was something in black people knew that James Baldwin was a beautiful soul. And we didn't judge him because he was gay. And he helped a lot of people in the civil rights movement. See what I'm saying? They got the guy who set up the whole civil rights movement, not Martin Luther King. That was the guy, Bayard Rustin.
Yeah.
Now Bayard Rustin was a guy who was gay, who used to go down in Alabama, Mississippi, 10 years before they even had civil rights movements and set in. He was going down there when it was dangerous. See what I'm saying? And he was the guy that set up the whole March of Washington, D.C. But I said, well, damn, what is that trying to tell you that the man that was over the March on Washington, D.C., and the man who had, they said that Martin Luther King and them had to go to him to learn how to go down into Mississippi and Alabama and not get killed.
Something's going on.
I said, so what is that telling you? That's trying to tell you that your struggle is not to get in to castigate your people and malign and vilify your people because they gay. Why? Because what you get ready to do is you get ready to make another hate group. You see what I'm saying? And we need everybody we got to. If a brother is conscious, I couldn't really give a damn on it. I'm heterosexual. 100% heterosexual. I went to get a goddamn colonic. And then they say, look, we got to go slow with your ass. Your asshole is non-existent. Hurt me to fart. So I wouldn't make it as a gay man. I'd be dead. So I'm just trying to tell you this to say that in the Mayachian thing, if this is all an illusion down here, it ain't got nothing to do with your behavior. We ain't talking moralism. We trying to say if that's a spirit, and it's a spirit that's beautiful, a spirit that's soulful, a spirit that can help you, you don't suppose to doggone judge that person by something that it's doing is so personal. That's personal. It's not asking, you understand what I'm saying? That's personal. You see? You see what I'm saying? You have to have bodies. I even suggest that the bodies when they die, as well as the bodies when they die, as well as human bodies. But we do know that with the production of melatonin, we talk about actual human bodies. It's very key. Now there was another piece, I don't know if I dropped it or left it in Atlanta, but they got a stuff called Sun Secrets, which is basically a tanning lotion. And on that tanning lotion, they had melanin on the tanning lotion. So we're talking about all your sunscreens now, and all your tanning lotions, and all of this particular copper-tone shit is actually basically melanin. It didn't say melatonin, it said straight up melanin. You see what I'm saying? Straight up melanin. So you see, this is some major stuff that we're actually dealing with here. Robert Anton Wilson's famous book from 1975, the Illuminatus Trilogy, is now, you can get that book at Barnes & Noble on hardback. A hardback volume of this particular book, which we tell people to get this particular book because before Bill Cooper and all of this, Robert Anton Wilson was the person that dealt with a greater science of the Illuminati, because he was tapped into the OTO. You see what I'm saying? He was tapped into the OTO, which is Crowley's group. As a matter of fact, one of the head people of the OTO at a particular time after Crowley's death was Kenneth Grant. But what happened is the Kenneth Grant students went and actually literally got mad at him and rebelled against him, so they sent out a couple of thousand cards making a couple of thousand or a couple of hundred members head of the OTO, which automatically reduced him down. And as a result, one of the people that got one of those cards was also Robert Anton Wilson also too. One of his books is The Mask of the Illuminati, which he also mentions. He also mentions Pascal Beverly Randolph, P.B. Randolph, in there. That we dedicated the last lecture to, as well. One of the lectures also. What's the name? How do you pronounce this? I want to get the right pronunciation. How do you pronounce this? Schrodinger's Cat. I want to get the right thing. Schrodinger's Cat trilogy by Robert Anton Wilson, which is also dealing with the universe next door.
Yeah, we have lung problems.
With the universe next door.
Lung problems. Breathing.
And so this stuff is, we've always had certain people doing certain things. At this particular point, I think from the last 5 years what has started happening, we gave a lot of information and a lot of knowledge, and I gave a lot of books. Tons and tons of information if you go back and visit those tapes. Then all of a sudden, around 2000, what I was actually teaching on from 92 on up to 2000, I actually started living. I actually started living the aspect of a God. In the particular aspect, the people that I started interacting with, it was a certain spiritual thing. So the last 6 or 7 years, I've been reporting on my own spiritual account of what's going on in your life. They said that each person should get them a little notebook or a diary and keep a magical diary. It's going to be essential because the simple fact, you've been focusing on different aspects of what you would contemplate: religion, gods, goddesses, and the spiritual aspect, but it's been outside of yourself. So as a result, you say, well, how do I want to make this thing where I actually know that I'm functioning as a God? And what it is you have to get a notebook or get something and start taking a record of spiritual experiences. Now, spiritual experiences will be something, it ain't going to be nothing like the Bible where the sky open up and you see some Ezekiel wheel and and the locusts and all that. And we be looking for Hollywood. Spiritual experiences is, you might walk in a store. You see what I'm saying? Like this walk in a store, and me and my queen was in Atlanta, and something would happen totally opposite. We walked in a place, and we saw anybody saw this movie, the last installment of the Pirates of the Caribbean. If you hadn't seen it, you missed out on the paying the homage. The white folks say, look, whenever all this genocide stuff going on, they still say we getting our ritual together. So they paid homage to the black goddess in this movie. You see, they paid homage to the black goddess in this movie. So the goddess was named Calypso. So the day after, we realized that Vanessa Williams had played the goddess Calypso in a movie, The Odyssey, 10 years before, in 1997. So went and got The Odyssey. And after we got it, I said, look, we passed this Greek restaurant. Now we know that. So it's just interesting. It's just interesting when you, but to give you the spiritual experience, we went to this Greek restaurant and this woman, when we walked in, she saw my queen and she just started drawing my queen, a white girl, started drawing my queen, and she said, I don't know how I'm going to do this because I charged for these pictures, but she gave my queen this picture. Now, that's a spiritual experience. You see, you can't take nothing for granted. For something that this woman saw, and she could be one of those ones that's got the soul. You see what I'm saying? Because it was a soul thing. You see, everything you see that appear ain't necessarily white. You see what I'm saying? This whole thing is a whole lot of stuff that's going on, because this entire summer, we were treated like royalty from April to August by white people. Treated like royalty. Everywhere we went, they were bowing down to us. And I said, this is a spiritual experience that's actually happening. They know something is going on spiritual, and sometimes the spirit will move. Let me give you an example. There's a sister named Aviva in Atlanta. She said that she was in a supermarket. She was about 40-something years ago. She was at a supermarket. She was pregnant. A white woman came out of nowhere and said, name your daughter so-and-so. Whatever she told her to name her daughter, the daughter, it was after her grandmother. She wanted to name the daughter Monique. You see. And she said this woman appeared out of nowhere and told her to name the daughter after the grandmother. I forgot what the name was. And she didn't do it. You see what I'm saying? So as a result, who would have known what was manifested if she would have done that? You see what I'm saying? It could have been something that the daughter went to a certain level of spirituality, a certain greatness. You see what I'm saying? So those are what spiritual moments are. Now going back to Ohio, we know now, and that's what we're going to be dealing with now, is basically the God school level. We'll give you some incidents, some things that's happening tomorrow to show that people right around you, especially when they make the transition,
when they die, you find out that their spirits are on a whole nother level, God and goddesses, and you like talk, who would ever know? You see, so what's actually happening now is that certain cities that, and I'm just going by my experiences, when I'm invited back over and over again, where it become an annual thing, that is because those cities, that's where the gods dwell. You see. And that means it's very unique, and especially if you got a lot of murders. We talk about this too. You got a lot of murders. That means that the government, they have soothsayers, they have people on a certain plane, and what these people do is they can understand a certain amount of energy. And so they say, well, we got to beef up the murders in the city. Let me give you an example. Philadelphia was very quiet most of the 90s. You know, no more than regular black, black on black crime. But you know, on a certain level, this calm. But all of a sudden, in 2005, this stuff started escalating. In 2006, so they killed so many people until the state of New Jersey said, if you don't get on top of the killing, you're gonna have to have papers to pass into Trenton, which is like 30 minutes away. You see what I'm saying? And that was 2006. 2007, they're already up to 300 murders. You see what I'm saying? And they done killed 6 cops since September. Now, black people are not stupid. We don't kill cops like that. Whenever you see these things, that means that you got some kind of government inducing or some kind of government involvement where they're killing these cops to lock it down for police state. Because see, once you start killing, you can kill 6 cops, they're going to say, well, you know, and in this particular case, we got to turn this into Nazi Germany. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Where you're going to have papers to pass and martial law, basically. Okay. So you can tell that all this stuff is induced. Mm-hmm. And then they get these black mayors that's coming in saying, yeah, we're going to start checking people. And they're going into people's homes. Mm-hmm. And they got a mayor that's running based on going into the people's homes. Now, it's not far-fetched because they know that they had a black mayor that dropped a bomb on a whole black community in 1979 called Move. You see what I'm saying? So all this stuff is connected. So we know that, and I saw on NBC News the other night, they had whatever the guy at the NBC News, they broadcast from Cleveland. It was talking about the housing thing, and they just showed rows and rows of houses. It looked like a ghost town. Mm-hmm. Whenever things are happening like that in these cities, it means that they are tracking some people, that they are tracking some God-like energy. So Detroit is the only third world country, you see what I'm saying, in America. But Detroit is responsible for Motown. Memphis, they're killing them up in Memphis like dogs. Mm-hmm. But Memphis is responsible for Stax. Gary, Indiana, 3 years ago was the #1 murder capital of America. But that's where Michael Jackson and the Jackson family is from. So they happen to know that we are gods and goddesses. Now this is all going on stemming from some stuff from 1999 with Afghanistan, which we in war with Afghanistan, and Pakistan had celebrations. Mm-hmm. They had celebrations, and they said, what are you celebrating about? They said, we're celebrating the rising of the arrival of some hidden gods in America.
You didn't want those young people coming to
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn, their territory.
I mean, my goodness, they always talk about Martin Luther King and the marches. Since when did marches become the goddamn enemy to the government? I thought they loved that shit. Now, you can't have one way or the other.
That's right.
You say you hate this, but we got to do a nonviolent protest.
Yeah,
White man tell you to do a nonviolent protest. Now, you do the damn nonviolent protest.
They don't want
tell you don't want that shit. And he got to make up his damn mind. He either wants some damn sticks and stones or he want a motherfucker to march. But I'm like, damn, what's his name said? Now, I'm like, doggone, now, DiBernardo did say this, and he was right about this.
That's right.
DiBernardo said he was right, and I agree with him totally. He said the damn world is looking at us.
That's right.
And the world saw us in the 60s and saw us doing that shit. Now, anybody knowing revolution, you don't do no shit you did 60 years ago. And they say now they seeing the damn black people up here still damn marching, and they know that the world know that black people ain't about shit. Anytime they say, like I say, you can't gain no respect no worldwide sitting around this motherfucker marching. You see what I'm saying? Sitting around this shit marching, and the IRA and motherfuckers is goddamn bombing people and shit, and your ass up in here with this damn marching bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? The IRA, they ain't telling the motherfuckers y'all wrong. They telling the motherfuckers, can't we have peace? You see what I'm saying? Can't we have peace? So the whole world is looking and saying, what a punctified ass people sitting up in this shit, marching and shit.
Enochian physics, I don't know if it's still in print. On page 12, let me show you this particular, let's see if I can find it. On page 12, let's see. Yeah, they show this dot. I think I'm going to have to draw it. I'm going to have to draw it. It's a circle with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements. This is by Gerald Schuster. Yeah, Schuler. You can get it. Enochian physics. The structure of the magical universe. Enochian physics is nothing but melanin physics. Anytime you hear the word Enochian. Enoch is Tahuti, and Tahuti is Hermes, and Hermes gives you Hermetic science, and Hermetic is alchemy, and alchemy is melanin. So Enochian physics means melanin physics is what it means. You see black and you see gold. You see the Sphinx. The Sphinx represents the symbol of melanin. You see the sun on the head. Gerald and Betty, Gerald J. Schuler. Now, in here, they got the first realm is spirit. Damn, I'll put up P this. Damn, I'm still fucking a hole. No, I have to. Yeah, I got it. It's up on all that shit. S-P-R-I-T, spirit, fire, air. You see where they get all this shit from? Fifth element, water, fifth element, earth. And it's all coming from this particular black dot. But 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one was a girl which was spirit 5. That's the fifth element. They explain it right here in this book. So if you get the movie was all about melanin, and this particular book bears witness to what it's actually talking about here. It bears witness to this too. Now, also in here, if you can put this, can you zero in on that? In this book, that's going to be on page 261. They show the sun, but they show in the middle of the sun it says carbon, oxygen, core. That's melanin. Carbon, oxygen, core. That's melanin. Now remember when I showed you the diagrams about the two dimensions and how we got to go from one to the other? They show the different dimensions in this particular book.
in this particular book. So what this guy is doing is he's breaking all the laws of these people saying don't teach the people the real shit. He's doing it in this book. And the name of this book is Enochian Physics. Enochian Physics, you know, which he got Enochian magic and all that. But I'm kind of sick of that kind of magic now. Hell, it's about learning and shit because a lot of this shit is we got to do it ourselves.